What do you know? I'm going to tell you guys about an MMO. Today I'm going to be reviewing the wonderful, wonderful game called That's right, Champions Online. Made by Cryptic Studios, the guys who created City of Heroes, also decided to make a more free version of their game called Champions Online. Essentially, there are a few things I want to go over about it. Storyline, gameplay, and overall accessibility. And the fourth maybe being payment and free stuff or not free stuff. Well, first off, let's talk about story. Anyway, the game pretty much is very simple, like every MMO except for one aspect. When you start out, it's pretty much like a comic book. You basically are set in a world that you can actually have a comic book like feel to it, while still at the same time being in a three-dimensional world. You start out pretty much in the tutorial level if you have never played by pretty much throwing yourself into a large-scale battle going between the police superheroes against a giant alien invasion. Pretty much after that, it's not as interesting. It gets down to its original MMO style, but the interesting about the thing is it's not a fantasy, it's an entire superhero. So, instead of fighting off large monsters and stuff, you get to go fight people like the Purple Gang, some kind of dragon ninja group. I don't remember their name yet. But anyway, that's how it works. Quests are pretty normal, typical, stereotypical, you know, go in, go out, grab this stuff, defeat these guys. Pretty easy. Item development, pretty much the same. But like I said, the storyline really doesn't have much to it, except when you get about level 25 and you're able to create a villain for yourself. That's when it gets tad interesting. You get villain storylines and stuff like that. So even though it essentially doesn't have a story, it still has story events that are very large and actually really fun to play. I've only played 2 events right now as of now, but it's pretty fun. What else? Oh, that's right. Now for gameplay. Gameplay is pretty... yeah. Gameplay really doesn't have any difference from normal MMOs, except for one aspect of it. The one aspect about this is that when you can press certain buttons, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, pretty simple. But the special thing about it is that while you're doing the moves, you can still move around. So if you want to be a little elaborate on how you kill the guy, so yeah, you're pretty much going to kill the guy the same way the other one does, by either shooting him, using some kind of lightning, or hitting him some way. You can do it by jumping around its head and hitting him all over the place. That's fun. Let's see. What else? Gameplay wise, it has a lot of options on how your character can develop depending on what kind of accessible account type you have. I'll cover that in a second. Alright. In every MMO, there's one aspect about it that I like to talk about. It's called customizability. Customizability basically means how you can develop your character, what he looks like, and stuff initially at the beginning of the game. Or can you continue to do that afterwards, after you've completed the game. Pretty much this is made by Cryptic Studios, the guys who of course gave us City of Heroes. So basically the customizable options on the heroes are mostly to the point of unlimited. Except for free accounts, it's not that bad. For free accounts you get a lot, and it's also pretty cool for gold accounts. The only difference between a gold and a silver account, which I'm going to get into real fast, is the more or less you can customize your hero. So there's really not much about that. But when you actually get into the game, you have one initial costume character, but you can change it anytime you want by going to a tailor, by paying in-game money. You don't have to pay any money to change your character's look, but going to in-game money and you're able to customize your character to make him look the way you want. So say your character's a robot, feel like him being a human or a demon or a dragon, do it if you have the right amount of money. which most of the time in this game, money grabbing's pretty easy, so I would say that 9 times out of 10 you're going to be able to customize your character whenever you want. Unless that's all you're doing and you're wasting your money, buddy. The other cool thing about it is when you enter guilds, which I'll cover later, you get a extra costume slot, or you can buy it from the C store, which is the internet store that you can buy from. Both silver and gold accounts can do this. You can add an extra character slot that you can make another costume if you want and interchange the 2 costumes whenever you want during the game. And I'd say customizability, that's pretty broad. It's pretty good. What else? Yes. Let me very quickly get into the accessibility. Regarding accessibility and features of the game, you can have guilds. They're more like called supergroups. Supergroups have multiple meanings for them. You can send messages in between the supergroup. Pretty stereotypical of an MMO. Supergroups can have their own crest. Supergroups can pretty much do what every kind of other MMO guild can do, except for maybe a few unique things to the game. Accessibility regarding accounts. Now, this is the important part. There are 2 types of accounts in Champions Online: gold and silver. Gold is the account type of like a paying type. You pay so much money per month and you're able to access more features. Except it feels like a waste of money because pretty much the only things you can do are hero customizations and maybe a few missions and discounts in the C store. There's really not much different between the silver. Silver, you get the same kind of perks, except you can't customize your own class, and you get less armor and abilities. But having had an account on both types, I would say they're not much different, except for maybe a few little things, and even the little customizable options over time you can even buy with real money, even as a silver account, but you don't get the discount for it. That's pretty much the difference between a silver and a gold. So if you're like a free player, or you're a big hardcore gold player, you can do both and pretty much do the same amount of thing, which is nice because since there's no difference between a gold and silver, when you finally get into the game, when you level up to max, which is level 40, pretty much if you're a silver account and you gold, and there's a guy who's a gold and you do PvP, the silver guy could still beat the gold guy in the end. So now I think I'll cover what I feel is role-playing aspect of it. The role-playing aspect is how do players role-play and how interactive is it regarding the storyline to your character and the rest of them. It's really cool because in this game the role-playing aspect is actually very, very large and integrated into the game, and the players are very devoted to it. The reason is because in one area, it's called Club Caprice or Caprice, I don't know. You can go in there and there's no way you can fight, no enemies or anything, and pretty much all you do is you sit and talk. Sit and talk in the area, talk to other players, interact with your guild and or supergroup, and pretty much roleplay. I have actually clocked in about 5 to 10 hours of roleplay in there, and it actually is very fun and interactive. And if you get to know you also get to know your fellow guild players a lot, and sending messages back and forth becomes easier. Well, other than that, there's nothing else I can say about Champions Online. If you want to, I will also have a video pinned up of gameplay for a while. I might talk much, or I might not talk at all, and it'll show you how the games goes from my character's perspective. So, have a wonderful day, everybody.